Doom v Vamos v Vamos Epicureans. This is the BCE Comics Pod one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm doing well, particularly since we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club. And this one-shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which, now that I've got the slides fixed, here we go. This is Uncanny X-Men number 182, Madness. The creative team remains the same on this, but Ann Nocenti is joining Louise Jones as the editor, and hence a lot of the citation captions are signed by L/A. This is just 2 years into Ann Nocenti's career, and she'll be with us on the X-Men as editor for a while now. I think she's best known for creating the character Longshot, and during her stint writing Daredevil, she also created the character Typhoid Mary. So we're getting the start of Ann Nocenti here.
Yeah, she's got a very interesting Daredevil run that, follows up Frank Miller. I forget if there's a gap in between, but, for all intents and purposes, you think of Miller's run, then Nocenti's run, and then kind of more into, some other things. The 90s Daredevil, I guess, is what you think of after that, and until you get to the modern era. So she's definitely well respected, and JRJR does a lot of the art on Nocenti's run, so there's some continuity there.
Yeah, it makes me suspect that maybe this is their first time working together, and that's what set up that partnership. I know Daredevil was a character that highly influenced JRJR. Part of why he got into being a comics artist is when he was a kid, he had some nightmare or something, and his father was drawing the cover of Daredevil number 12, I think, the one that has Kazar on the cover it, and his dad said something like, look at this guy, he's going to protect you or whatever, and that started his interest in being a comic artist like his father. So, yeah. See, the things I learned when I go to a comic convention and listen to these guys talk. Not that I've been to many, but I really did want to, I like JRJR's work, so I really wanted to see him. All right. Yep, that's the one. Was I right in the number? Was that issue 12?
It was issue 12. I think Kazar is also is he on 13? The storyline continues into 13. I'm not sure if he was in 13, but...
Well, the one you held up was the cover in question. So yeah,
he's on the cover of 13, but it's a little different because Kazar is like in the sewers or whatever that is. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, that other one, when John Romita Sr. was drawing it, John Romita Jr. was a little boy, but that's the one that inspired him to become a comic artist like his dad.
It's great.
Yep. All right. So, in the last issue, Rogue was sent back to New York to check on Kitty and the New Mutants since she could fly there faster. When she arrives at the mansion, everyone was gone, but the Cerebro message machine, or answering machine, I guess, had a message from Michael Rossi, or Rossi, I'm not sure. Michael had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and got into some trouble. Well, without hesitation, Rogue rescues Rossi, and we discover that he was Carol Danvers' first lover, and that Rogue is struggling to keep her personality separate from Carol Danvers' personality. However, the attack on S.H.I.E.L.D. has come to the attention of Nick Fury, who orders Rogue's capture. Alright, Stojr, what are your thoughts here?
I kind of feel like this issue would have been more interesting had we known these characters, and maybe these are characters from Miss Marvel that I'm just not aware of. Maybe Rossi or whatever was in that book. I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they write this in a way where, like, if the answer is no to that, then it still works. Like, it's a figure from from Miss Marvel's past. You don't necessarily have to have that set up, but it seems like we get like 3 or 4 very well developed characters in this issue, but we never met them before and have no idea who they are, and are just supposed to kind of follow their actions. And some of them are betraying the other ones. So the idea here of these different characters is a little confusing. I also, without spoiling things ahead, but when we get to like the Mutant Massacre, there's some characters that like look the same as Rossi, and I don't know if that's the same character or if that's just a coincidence, because I think these Shield uniforms look a little bit like the are these supposed to be undercover Shield, or are they undercover in the Hellfire Club? Because
So
they look like Hellfire Club uniforms.
yeah, and I had not made that connection until you just said it. They are guys in Shield, and they're wearing Shield uniforms. One of them is an uncover Hellfire Club member. So
Right.
the guy who's not beating up Rossi, and who goes to he checks in with Sebastian Shaw and Frost, so he's an undercover Hellfire Club agent. But yeah, you're right. The with the straps and everything, it does look very similar. The Hellfire Club's uniform and the Shield uniforms.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's all very clear, like that betrayal. And again, some of that, me being unclear is just because it was a little while since I read it, and now I'm mentally caught up. But trying to flip to the panel that I'm thinking of here, in going back to issue 210, the same issue that we were just talking about. You get a character here who's very obviously like, I'm pretty sure that's a Hellfire uniform,
Mm.
and the person is from the Hellfire Club, but almost could be that same character we just saw, unless this is a Shield person. And when we get to that issue, it'll be a little bit clearer. But my memory of not what they say in that issue, but at least the visuals tells me, almost makes me think it's the same person. But anyway, my major quibble here is I don't know who any of these people are, and I'm kind of thrown into the middle of some espionage story and supposed to care about these characters. Um, I feel like and I think that comes to a head when he kind of backslaps Rogue. I get the anger, but I don't get that level of anger, right? Because like we're not. I don't know what the attachment is between him and Carol, and if I knew some of that, or if they established some of that, like if this was her boyfriend or fiance, and there was like a very close relationship here, because some of the wording, he almost starts to like understand. Like I'm starting to get like her accents changing, and it almost made it seem like he was going to be something somewhat sympathetic or try and fix the situation. And then he just kind of goes off like, and backhands her and kind of moves on. By the way, I'm pretty sure he backhands her without gloves and makes physical
Oh
contact, which
yeah, good
I guess
point.
it's ever so brief, so she's not absorbing things from him, but that was kind of interesting.
You'd think he'd get a
Um,
little jolt or something, right?
yeah, yeah. So anyway, I mean, the issue's fine. I guess I have a slight aversion to how many times that they've done, people infiltrating Shield. And while at this time it may not have been that common, it's been done over the years. It's been done well, mind you. I think when we talk about Dark Avengers, I'm going to talk a little bit about Secret Warriors, and I think that's where it's been done very well. But it's also been kind of, it's been a well that they've gone back to multiple times. Your thoughts?
Well, I kind of agree with you to an extent here. At first, when I was reading this, I was not impressed. I was in the same situation. I had no idea who this Michael Rossi was. And you're right, maybe that was covered in the Miss Marvel books, but I have not read those yet. To my knowledge, then, he's not been introduced. We don't know anything about this guy, so why the heck should we care? And why the heck does Rogue care? But as it was being built, of course, we come to realize Rogue is succumbing to Carol Danvers' personality, and she herself is confused by this. So, in a way, I think Claremont is actually taking us, the reader, on the same journey that Rogue is going on. And I think that does make this a bit more of an interesting story. We're equally confused, but so is the character. So, when I looked at it from that aspect of, okay, this is maybe not so much a straightforward story, but maybe just a piece of art, right? That made it a little more interesting to me. But I would like to, at some point, I want to go back and read the Miss Marvel books and see all that.
So apparently, according to this Marvel fandom database that I just looked up while you were talking, his first appearance was X-Men '96. So we've actually
Really,
seen him before,
we have seen him
but
before.
I would have not known that.
No, was '96 in the Claremont era?
Uh,
Yeah, I
checking.
think it
Yeah, I
is
think
because
it was.
'94 was.
So I think he's mixed up with all of like the Langston like Space Sentinel storyline,
Oh,
um, in all of that. So 96 is the issue with the Night of the Demon issue. Um, so and yeah, he must make his he's in there as a trying to see if they say his name here, but yes, Colonel Rossi. So he's in here, like he doesn't look anything like he does now. But that's supposed to be him with Langston or whatever that Steve guy's name is, does the Sentinel stuff. He's in the Army uniform there, or the Air Force uniform. So,
well, either way, Rogue has not been introduced to this guy with the X-Men back then. So still,
no,
she has
everything
no
you're saying is valid.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from our point of view, like he is a Claremont X-Men creation. He most likely shows up in Miss Marvel comics, but I don't know that for certain. Yeah. He will show up in Miss Marvel comics in the 2000s apparently, because I have a second entry here that I'm not going to spoil. But so anyway, yeah, I don't know how well his character was developed from there to here, but we supposedly have seen him before. I would have never made that connection based off of what we're seeing here.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I think Claremont wrote the Miss Marvel books anyway, didn't he? So he might well have grabbed him as a character from the X-Men and continued on with Miss Marvel. So, the only other thing I have on this is I kind of like how Rogue is using Susan B. Anthony dollar coins as a weapon in this. Let me see. She does it twice in here. Here we go. Here's one. She just throws a coin right there to take care of things. I wonder if they were trying this out as a gimmick for her and something that they ultimately abandoned. It seems like something that could probably get a little expensive for a while because, a dollar coin, that'll add up if you're using that as a weapon. But I just thought that was a neat little silly thing, and I'm a little bit of a numismatist myself, so I like coins. What can I say?
Feels a little Gambit-esque, well before Gambit's introduced. My one thought when I read this, though, was that she has no idea whether she's going to murder somebody with that. The idea here is she's throwing it inside the ship because if she can get it inside the ship, it's going to do damage inside versus the hull on the outside, which is stronger. Kind of the old, fight the monster from the inside by jumping down its throat type of thought process. But how does she doesn't have any accuracy or control over that coin, that it's not going to go right through somebody's skull on that ship. So,
and I also wonder why a Susan B. Anthony coin? Why that? If we have any younger folk here, they may not know this, but dollar coins used to be rather big, like they were about that big around, right? It was too unwieldy for people to carry, so they decided to make a smaller silver coin, but it was about the same size as a quarter, so people would confuse them. And eventually in 2000, they changed it to not be a silver coin, but a golden color. But even still, no one uses dollar coins anyway.
Those are the Sacagawea ones, right?
Yeah, Sacagawea ones, and then they became presidential ones, but they still do instead of calling them Sacagawea, they're now called the Native American coins or something like that. They still make them, not necessarily for circulation, though, because no one uses them. It's more just for collectors now. All right, Stojr, any other final thoughts?
No, I'm good. Looking forward to the next issue.
All right. Well, once again, if you guys have enjoyed our thoughts, go ahead and follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full big collected edition comic once a month. This Sunday is going to be the Dark Avengers. We've got these daily one-shots, and, like, subscribe, do all that other stuff to help us grow things. We appreciate it. All right. We'll catch you guys again next time.